Okay, this is another episode of Refining Fire Chiles cooking videos, and in this video it's going to be a process. Don't pay attention to the meat to the left, that's from another cooking video. We're going to focus on the meat here to the right in my smoker. Okay, so what we're going to be making is raspberry chipotle spicy beef jerky. Now, we're going to do a couple different cuts of meat. In the bottom rack here, we have a top sirloin roast and a rump roast. Very similar in cuts of meat. That's in the bottom, in the bottom. On the top here, we have a London broil and 2 tri-tips. Now, the first phase is we've covered with a rub, Cosmo's cow cover beef dry rub. They also have a spicy cow cover. They have also a spicy chicken rub and a regular honey chipotle chicken rub. Or it's called Dirty Bird, I believe. It's called Dirty Bird. This is cow cover. So what we've done is we've seasoned the meat with this. Let the meat get to room temperature, then we season the meat. And we put here in the smoker 2 tri-tips, a London broil, and 2 roasts. Now, we've got it set at 225 degrees in the smoker, which is the high smoke setting of the Camp Chef grill. It's a Camp Chef pellet grill. It's called the Woodwind, and this is the 36-inch model, all right? So we are going to have these 3 cuts of meat are going to be in here about 1 hour and 15 minutes. And then we're going to take them off and let them rest. The 2 roasts will probably be closer to 1.5 hours to 2 hours. We're cooking the meat to medium rare. Then we are going to let it cool overnight in the fridge in a Ziploc bag. Then we're going to slice it on our meat slicer, and we'll show you that later, probably tomorrow. We're going to slice about 1/4-inch thick slices of medium rare roast, tri-tip, and London broil. And then we're going to put it in a marinade of a raspberry chipotle sauce by Cosmo's Barbecue with some spicy chili powder mixed in. And we're going to let that sit in the bag for a couple hours, maybe a half a day. Then we're going to bring it back out to the smoker and lay the slices on the grill and smoke it at low heat for a few hours. That's how we're going to make our raspberry chipotle jerky. Now, some of you all can't get tri-tip where you live, or you've never heard of tri-tip. I thought because it was in California all over the place, it would be all over here in Georgia. I have to drive about 30 minutes to a butcher to find it, and my neighbors didn't even know what tri-tip was when I mentioned tri-tip to them. That's why I'm doing the London broil and the beef rump roasts, top round roast, so you have other alternatives. And granted, the tri-tip jerky is probably going to be melt in your mouth, fall apart. There's going to be like no chewing involved, okay? Where the other jerky is going to have a little bit of chewing, and people like jerky to chew on, right? They don't want it just melt in their mouth and they just swallow it, you know? So we'll be doing raspberry chipotle jerky out of these 3 cuts of meat: London broil, tri-tip, and top round rump roast, whatever kind of roast. Ignore the meat to the left. That's from another cooking video. All right, so we're going to close this up. We'll come check on the thinner cuts of meat in about 1 hour and 10-15 minutes. So the beef jerky meat, which is 2 tri-tips, a London broil that you see right down there. You see that London broil? See how nice and juicy it is? What we did with these, because these are thinner cuts of meat, and they'll get to medium rare quicker than the roasts, the 2 rump roasts that we have in there, or a top round roast. What we did with these is we took them out when they hit about 130 degrees, close to medium rare. And then we put it on our 900-degree sear box that you see right there. And we seared it reverse, it's called reverse sear. That's when you sear at the end. We reverse seared it 1 minute each side. And now we're letting the meat rest. This would be perfect to serve right now, sliced to somebody. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in Ziploc bags into the refrigerator, let it cool, because when the meat's cold, it's really easy to slice on the meat slicer. And we're going to slice 1/4-inch thick slices on all of these cuts of beef, including the roast. And then we're going to make a marinade with raspberry chipotle sauce and some pepper powder, and mix that in with the slices in a bowl, and then Ziploc it and let it sit for about, I don't know, maybe half a day, maybe all night. And then we'll take those slices and put it in the smoker and smoke them until they dry out to become beef jerky. That's the plan. We'll show you the rest of that. The roasts are in here right now. They're at about 120 degrees. So they are not quite ready yet, but they'll be out in about 10 minutes. Okay, so the meat we cooked yesterday for beef jerky, which was tri-tip, we cooked it medium to medium rare. And I got to get moving on this because flies are coming around because I'm outdoors. And we did London broil. And here's the tri-tip. And we did rump roast, top round roast, rump roast, whatever. We cooked it to medium rare, meat to medium, the most. We seasoned and smoked the meat. So we already showed you that earlier in the video. So now we've sliced it to slices just under a 1/4 inch thick, as you can see. Now the next thing we did is we took some Cosmos raspberry chipotle sauce, barbecue sauce, and we added in some New Mex Big Jim hot pepper flakes, and that's what you see right here. Okay, we let the pepper flakes sit in it a little while so that it can be absorbed into the marinade. But that doesn't matter, because I'm going to tell you why it doesn't matter. Because right now we're going to take the meat and we're going to put it in this tray right here, and we have more to slice up. Just wanted to show you how things are going. And we're going to pour our raspberry chipotle barbecue sauce with New Mex Big Jim on it, and we are going to get as much as possible coated on the meat. Okay, you can brush it on the meat if you want just before you dry it in either your dehydrator or your smoker. We're using a smoker. Or you can do this, or put it in a Ziploc bag. And what we're doing is we're going to let this sit a few hours, maybe even overnight, depends on how tired I am. And then we'll smoke it at about 220 degrees till it's done. I won't know the exact time when it's done. I'm going to have to check it periodically. But we're going to smoke it with this marinade on it. It's good to leave the marinade on it for a little while, so it's kind of soaks into the meat, because the meat is not completely cooked. It's only medium rare to medium, depending on what part of the meat I've sliced. We're also going to do a batch with Cosmos cherry habanero barbecue sauce, which has got a little bit of a kick, but not much. So we'll probably add some of the New Mex Big Jim medium hatch chili flakes to it to bring up the heat a little bit, and also add some flavor to it. So we will be smoking this either tonight or tomorrow, and when it's done, we will show you. This is going to be our raspberry chipotle and cherry habanero beef jerky, and we're taking a shortcut. You can do this with raw meat, but why? Why? Go ahead and smoke and cook the meat to medium, whatever. Slice it on a slicer the next day. It's easier to slice once it's cooked and it's chilled. And then finish it off smoking or dehydrating. And you're going to get the same consistency of beef jerky that you started with raw meat. You're not going to have much of a difference. You know what the difference is going to be, folks? Here's what the difference is going to be. Your dehydrating time is going to be longer, or your smoking time is going to be longer. This meat's already been smoked in the smoker, so it's already got smoke flavor in it. It doesn't need to be smoked for 4 hours to make beef jerky, or 3 hours, or however long it would take. I don't know, I'm just guessing. Cook it, chill it, slice it, sauce it up and spice it. Let that delicious flavor go into the meat, which it will because it's not fully cooked. And then smoke it or dehydrate it to finish it off to make your beef jerky. And if you want, you can brush some more sauce on it while you have it on the grill or on your dehydrator tray. You'll save some time. It'll be a little bit easier than dealing with slicing raw meat. Of course, if you've got a butcher that will slice some top round or some other meat for you for beef jerky, exactly the thickness you want, and slice it up for you, charge you a few bucks or no charge is even better, and then give it to you, and then you marinate it overnight in your marinade, and then you smoke it or smoke it or dehydrate it, that's fine too. I'm just telling you, this is another way to do it. Cook the meat to halfway, chill it, slice it, marinate it and sauce it and spice it, and then it's going to be in your smoker for less time. Okay? So we're going to have a cherry habanero beef jerky, and we're going to have a raspberry chipotle beef jerky with a little bit of flavor from Hatch Chili, New Mex Big Jim, medium hot pepper flakes. Okay? We will show you what it looks like when it's done. This is Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chilies. Subscribe, like, come to our channel, share it. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff like this for the remainder of the summer because our plants are doing really well. Even our potatoes that we never grew in our life are doing really well, and our sweet potatoes, look at them over there. So you know what, we just have to water now and keep an eye on them. So we got lots of more time for cooking. Okay, so we'll be back with the beef jerky when it's done. So this is the end of our beef jerky experiment. As we said earlier in the video, we cooked 3 different kinds of meat: top round or rump roast, London broil, and tri-tip. We cooked a medium rare, then we sliced it with the meat slicer the next day after chilling. It's easier to slice meat when it's cooked than chilled, because when it's raw, it kind of moves around. And then we soaked it in a marinade of raspberry chipotle, which is a barbecue sauce from Cosmos Barbecue, and we did some cherry habanero, and we added in a little bit of New Mex Big Jim pepper flakes. So what did we discover? The top round of rump roast and the London broil kind of just came out like smoked thin meat. Not really that beef jerky texture that I like. However, the flavor was still amazing. Nobody complained at the church today. And that's what I brought to the church, was the stuff I really didn't like, because I figured, you know what? If I'm going to give it away, I'm going to give away the stuff I really don't like. And I'm picky. I love beef jerky. I mean, I can't have it around the house too long because I'll just eat it every day and I'll clog my system up by eating all that meat. So if you're going to use top round rump roast, top round roast, sirloin roast, I would suggest you slice it or get the butcher to slice it. And I would also suggest using a dehydrator instead of a smoker. Now, why am I going to say use the dehydrator instead of the smoker? Well, the pellets I use for my pellet grill, I use up, doing that for hours, uses up a lot of pellets. I'd much rather use those pellets for cooking other meats than using a whole bunch just to make a batch of beef jerky. So we put all the jerky in the pellet grill on the high smoke setting of a Camp Chef grill. The high smoke setting is 220, 225 for about an hour and a half. And then we went to the low smoke setting of like 160 or 170 for another hour. And then we had it sit out in my oven, not on oven, but in my oven, just kind of air drying a little bit. And that's how we made it. Now, the tri-tip, which you're looking at right here, came out the best. So if I was going to do this shortcut of cooking the meat to medium rare, slicing it the next day, putting it in marinade for a few hours or another day, and then smoking, I would go with the tri-tip. In fact, if I make beef jerky in the future from raw meat, I will most likely go with the tri-tip. If you can find tri-tip in your area. Now, tri-tip is not readily available in Georgia. I got to drive 30 minutes to go get it. In California, tri-tip was in every single grocery store, even the cheap grocery stores. So I can tell you, the tri-tip made me the best beef jerky. I like a little bit of chewing the beef jerky, but not so much that my jaw muscles are sore the next day. But with the tri-tip, it's kind of melt in your mouth beef jerky. You chew a little bit and you don't get much fat. So I would recommend the tri-tip for beef jerky. Again, the sauces were raspberry chipotle, which has no heat, cherry habanero, which has a little bit of heat from Cosmos Barbecue, and I added in some New Mex Hatch chilies, powder or flakes, which is the Big Jim, which is a medium heat Hatch chili. And you can get the pepper flakes from a few sources. One of them I like is they're a small company in Chiles, Mexico, New Mexico, called El Potrero Trading Post. Now they're old-fashioned, so they're online on the website, but when you want to order, you got to call them up, put in the order over the phone. And you can get like, I think it's like a pound of any flavored Hatch chili. I don't know, for like 15 bucks. It's so cheap, and a pound is going to last you a long time. They have all different flavor levels. You have the option also of getting some of the chilies sun-dried. So when you sun-dry chilies, you get even more flavor. And then they have the Native American chili called the Chimayo, which the town they live in is Chimayo. They have that in powder too, but that's limited, or flake. That is limited. You want to be hitting them up around September, October, because by December they might be sold out. And the Chimayo has an amazing flavor. Low-level jalapeno heat. Of course, if you want the hot heat of a Hatch chili, you get the Hatch Miss Junie, MS.Junie, Junie, or the Lumbre. The Lumbre is about 3 to 4 times hotter than a jalapeno, and the flavor is amazing. So, I prefer the dehydrator over the smoker because I don't feel like burning a ton of pellets. And the dehydrator also dehydrates the beef really, really, really slow, like over a 10-hour period. So you get a lot more flavor in the meat. That's just my opinion. But experiment. Okay? So this is the conclusion of our beef jerky experiment with the smoker, using those sauces. We'll probably do some beef jerky in the dehydrator maybe end of July. Right now I've got about 10 pounds of it, and I'm going to give some away today to some friends. But I don't need to be eating beef jerky in that large amount, because if it's sitting in my house, I'm going to eat it. I know it keeps for a long time, but if it's there, I'm going to keep eating it. If you know what I mean. So I hope this video has given you some ideas to make beef jerky. The flavor of the raspberry and the cherry habanero is amazing. Even though the meat that I wasn't the happiest with, I brought to the church, everybody said, God, this is so amazing beef jerky. I said, no, it's not. Because the tri-tip jerky I left at home, and it's better. So y'all take care now. This is Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chilies, www.superhotchilies.com.